3 here on Kiwi. Time now to chat with Mr. Phil Goff.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Talking politics with Phil Goff.
Indeed, leader of the Labour Party, Phil Goff, with us this morning. Good morning to you, Phil.
Yeah, g'day, Wammo. Another beautiful day in paradise here in Auckland. The sun's shining.
Certainly lovely about the place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
You get out in the sunshine on the weekends?
I was at things most of the weekend, but I saw a bit of the sunshine. Yeah, as I went from event to event. We've just got big celebrations across Auckland for Diwali. I did go down to Wellington on Saturday, and I've got to tell you, it sucks. It was cold, it was windy, it was wet, and all along there was Auckland basking in its sunshine. It's just as well they got the capital down there. Otherwise, not sure who would volunteer to live in the city.
Well, they certainly put on a nice show there for Hillary Clinton with the weather, didn't they?
Yeah, she got it in both cities, unfortunately. In Wellington, it was pretty windy and cool, and then she got the rain as well in Christchurch. So
did you meet with Hillary at all?
Yeah, I had 40 minutes with her. Very impressive person as a political operator. She, I think, she touched all the right buttons when she spoke. Both in Wellington and then down at the town hall meeting in Christchurch. The fact that she had that town hall meeting and made herself open to questions, I thought was a really good sign. And she was saying things that I think New Zealanders were pleased to hear about, the role that New Zealand can play in the world. Clearly the relationship with the United States over the last 12 years or so has improved considerably. What we've got to be really sure is that in improving and strengthening that relationship, which I favour, you don't give up your independence as a country and your right to make your own foreign policy and to express your own values and act in your own interests. That's why I prefer a strong partnership to an alliance. I think the expectation raised by an alliance is that whatever you're told to do, you will do.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I'm certainly not in that space, and I don't think most New Zealanders are.
So what concessions have we given the states for this cooling and thawing or chipping away the ice of the relationship?
Well, I don't think we... I don't think we made significant concessions in that sense. We have remained nuclear free. That's something that New Zealanders believe in. And it's good to have an American president that says that he has a vision for a world where nuclear weapons are eliminated. I can't imagine President Bush having said that. So, we welcome the fact that there are a whole lot of areas that we can work more closely with the United States on. But whether it's the United States or China or Australia or the United Kingdom, New Zealand has to retain its right to make its decisions in its way, and not simply to be the echo of anybody else's voice. And I suppose I was a little bit worried, watching the body language there as the Prime Minister met with the Secretary of State, and it was, like a Year 9 kid going in and meeting with the head prefect. I thought we could have shown a little more dignity than that, perhaps.
Well, he's an exciting guy, isn't he?
He was, and President Clinton.
He's the CEO of New Zealand.
Well, that's right. CEOs, interesting people.
Interesting you picked up on that. Well, let's look at some more sort of local issues. One of the big policies from Labour that was put through while you guys were in government was interest-free student loans.
Yep.
Now there's going to be a $40 yearly fee put on top of student loans for every year that a student loan is not paid back, even though you are making repayments after study. Every year that you have it, a $40 admin fee is going to be added on.
Well, I think that'll be the least of our worries in respect to where I think that the government wants to go, and I think they want to abolish the scheme. Stephen Joyce and John Key have pretty much said that, but they just don't have the courage of their convictions to do it. I think it's really important that we both encourage and provide the opportunity for every young New Zealander to get the best education they can. And that's why we brought in interest-free student loans. That saved students tens of thousands of dollars. I do say this about it, however. If you get the interest-free student loan and then you decide that you're going to go to another part of the world to work and pay tax, you have an obligation to pay that loan back. And I have zero sympathy for those people that think because they leave the country they can opt out of their loan-paying responsibilities. We've got to follow that up. Ordinary New Zealand taxpayers paid that money for a person to get an education. It was a loan, it wasn't a gift, and there is an obligation to pay it back, and that should be followed up on.
For sure. Let's look at another issue that looks like it's heating up once again with the announcement that the Kathmandu founder is going to be donating a whole bunch of money. That's Jan Cameron is donating a whole bunch of money to fight sow crates or in general animal cruelty in New Zealand. A significant amount of money, $2 million in fact. Would you like to see sow crates phased out sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I would actually. I know you've got the arguments around efficiency in farming, but you also have animal welfare issues, and they're important for ethical reasons, but they're also important because you'll find, and we're seeing more of it now, I think supermarkets might be even in Australia, that are banning the sale of products where the pork is derived from animals that were brought up in confined and inhumane circumstances.
Yeah.
Look, most farmers know that animal welfare is important for the welfare of the animal and their own economic reasons, but it is important ethically, and it is important in terms of your marketing. And I think the extent to which you can allow animals to live in a more natural environment, and certainly in an unstressful environment, the better. And, the world moves on, and what might have been acceptable 20 years ago isn't acceptable today, and more New Zealanders are thinking that.
But at the end of the day, right, this is going to come down to consumers making the right choices. But the problem is, with many foods when you visit the supermarket, is the labelling. And there's one thing that Labor was slow on, drag your feet on, was introducing good labelling for food, country of origin, and cruelty-free products, all that kind of stuff. People want to know what's in their food, and at the moment, the regulation isn't there to make sure that happens.
Yeah, there was a concern that we had that one of the measures that other countries around the world used to make life difficult for New Zealand farm exporters was country of origin labelling. Particularly in the United States, where most of our beef goes into hamburger meat, and it's mixed with meat from other countries, and it would have caused a huge amount of cost and difficulties. But by and large, I support the right of consumers to know exactly what the origin is of the products that they buy. Not simply country labelling, but I think as a consumer, if you feel strongly about sow crates, you've got a right to know that if you go along to the supermarket and you buy pork chops, what the circumstances were of how that animal was reared. And if you don't like the confinement of sow crates, you've got a right to say, as a consumer, I'm not going to buy that product. And actually it's that's going to force the hands of the farmers to comply with better conditions for the animals.
So we need more regulation in this space.
I think that, and the supermarkets can probably insist on it now. We have a system now for animal tracing. And people should have the ability to know how that animal has been reared, what food it's been eating, what the circumstances of its farming was.
We can also potentially trace the source of fish right to the boat as well. But currently, the consumer generally doesn't know where fish comes from.
Yeah, well, look, I think more and more you're going to be able to get that information, and you've got animal traceability systems and product traceability systems. So you buy a kiwi fruit, on the barcode you can actually, there's a way of finding out not only the region or the country that it came from, but the actual address and the physical location of where that product was farmed. And that means that people are worried about chemical additives and things like that. There is the ability for the supermarket to say, this is where the product came from, this was how it was farmed, and this is the information that you as a consumer might want to know about it. And I think that's a good thing.
Thanks very much, Phil Goff. Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Catch you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Leader of the Labour Party, Phil Goff, there with us this morning. Time now.